I want everyone to picture the love of your life. Picture the most beautiful person you can think of. And I want you to imagine that you get married to them. I want you to feel so much love in your heart that it could literally rip you in two because you feel so strongly for this person. I'm going to tell you guys a story of love. A love story, some might say. This is the story of Orpheus. Ancient Greece, Greek mythology. Two lovers, star-crossed, the ultimate romance of sorts. They loved each other so deeply that they had to hide it from their parents, but yet their love was known across the lands as one of the greatest loves in all of Greek mythology. This is the story of Orpheus and Euphrodite. I know I just butchered that name, but stay with me. So Orpheus finds this girl. He says, I love you, baby. I'm going to marry you. You are the hottest thing I've ever seen. You're the most beautiful girl. You're smart. You're intelligent. Baby, I love you. We're going to get married. It's going to be fun. So they get married after a long time of loving each other, a long wedding, falling in love. All their families show up. The gods are there. They do the sacrament before their gods. They spend the wedding night together. They make love. Ugh, what are we talking about? This is a fucking podcast. I'm getting to my point. Anyway, the greatest love story ever told. They're going to be together forever. Boom! The next day, Euphrodite dies. Murdered, killed, destroyed, fallen off a cliff. The death is not as important. I don't really remember it. But basically, this great love that was supposed to withstand time and be one of the most captivating stories in all of Greek mythology, it died the day after it got started. They were supposed to be married forever. They both had promises to keep to each other, but what can you do? Death intervenes. Orpheus doesn't take no for an answer. Orpheus meets with what are called back then the Eternals, the Furies, the Fates. If you guys have ever seen Hercules, it's those three witches who cut the rope for Hercules. They decide your fate. He goes to them and he pleads, how do I get my wife back? I need to be with her. I can't do this. After months and months of pining for her, he's just heartbroken. He can't do it anymore. They say, look, kid, we're going to give you one chance. You can go and talk to Hades, but honestly, she's gone. There's no getting him back. To talk to Hades would only be insulting. You have to accept the fate. Your wife died. She's not coming back. End of story. Orpheus says no. Orpheus says, me got married. Me should stay married forever, but me wife died. Why should I be without me wife? Furies shake their heads. The Eternals, the witches, whatever you want to call them, they say, no, kid, it's over. He doesn't accept their answer. He travels down all the way to the pits of hell, all the way to Hades. He sees the dead souls everywhere, all around him, staring at him, their glowing eyes in the darkness. He sees the boatman. He sees the river Styx. He sees all of these things that he shouldn't be seeing because he is still a mortal man. He's still alive. All of a sudden, he sees Hades sitting in his throne with his wife Persephone. What are you doing here? Hades asks Orpheus. Orpheus says, I've come to claim my wife. She died the day after our wedding. I need her back. I can't live without her. I must have her back. Hades says, what a fucking insult. You come down all the way to hell, still alive, thinking that you can leave this place, let alone take your dead wife? She belongs with me now. Look around. Look at the dead. He looks at all their faces. I will sing you a song. Hades says, what? That's what you have to offer me, a song? He looks at his wife. Let him play. Let him play, says Persephone. Let him play. As wives do, they have powers over their husbands. She might have been moved by his story, as she is married to Hades herself. She gets to spend all of eternity with him. Something about it, the boy touched Hades' wife. So Hades says, fine, play your song. Orpheus, being the young, smart, blonde-haired, charming boy that he was, began to sing. Oh, bum, ba-dum. No, he didn't sing the theme song to Halo, but he started singing. And oh my God, this was the most beautiful song he'd ever heard. What started happening was beyond Hades' comprehension. All of the souls in hell, all of the souls in his captivity, they began to rise. One by one with his song, they were all so enchanted by it. They were going to get out of hell and be reborn. Stop singing. What the fuck are you doing, son? This is hell. You don't come into my kingdom and sing songs and... But man, that was a beautiful song. You almost got the dead out of here. Orpheus says, thank you. Thank you very much. I just love my wife. I miss her. I want to be with her. Hades says, fine. We can make a deal. Persephone says, yes, we love deals. But there are always conditions when you make deals with God. You can have your wife back. I will let her leave with you. And I will give you one chance and one chance only. If you defy me, that'll be it. You'll be trapped here with her. You will never see her again. It will be the end for both of you. Orpheus says, what do I have to do? Tell me what I've got to do. I want my wife back. I want my wife. My love is stronger than death itself. I can be with her. I know it. Our love was meant to last forever. I just, stop. That's enough, Hades says. There are conditions. If you can walk through my gates, through hell itself, go all the way through Hades, the underworld, whatever you call it, if you can travel all the way through the underworld, I will leave one light, one small light at the end of the tunnel. And if you can make it, it's yours. You're gone. You can have her. You both will walk free. I promise you this. I am a god. As a god, you must trust this. But here's the conditions. There's always conditions, says Persephone. If you stray from the path, even one time, you will never see your wife again. You will be done. If you stumble, if you falter, if you cannot walk straight ahead, it's over. Second condition. I will let her leave with you, and she will be your shadow the entire time. You will never get to see her, but you will hear her, you will feel her walking alongside you, behind you as your shadow. Orpheus is saying, this is easy. No problem. Done. But if you look back at your wife, Hades says, if you look back one time, if you glance, you will both be stuck here with me for all of eternity. Orpheus, without a doubt, my love is so strong. We are meant to be together. Euphrodite, I will get you out of here. So the walk begins. The eyes of the dead follow the two as they make their march out of hell. But to get out of hell, you have to descend further and further and further into the underworld. Monsters, ghouls, creatures, unimaginable smells. This is the darkest path anyone has ever walked. And Orpheus walked it knowing that his wife was behind him and beside him the whole time. In his head, he thought, we're going to get out of this one. I'm going to get us out of here. Don't worry, baby. We're fine. He sees the light. He's walking for miles. He's walking for days in the underworld. The underworld's not small. It's holding a lot of dead people. You got to think about it. It's truly, guys, this is the biggest underworld. I'll be there soon. Little Donald will be it now. But yes, Orpheus walks through the underworld without question. He's fit. Probably has a six-pack. This is just how, the Greek gods are. He gets so close to the end of the tunnel. I know you guys are thinking what's going to happen next, right? Does he go off the path? Does he turn around? I see it, baby. We're almost there. He suddenly stops, and he doesn't hear his wife behind him anymore. He thinks, okay, she's still there, and I've been walking for days. I'm probably just missing her. I don't hear her anymore. She's not behind me. I've been lied to. She's not coming. Oh no. I made a deal with the devil. I made a deal with God for what? All of this, and she's not. I don't hear her anymore. I don't even feel her next to me. He walked for hours more without the sound of her next to him. And suddenly he heard her far in the distance behind him, yelling for him, Orpheus, please, please. So, in that moment, Orpheus, doubting the God's promise, doubting his love, turned around and saw his wife right beside him, right next to him, as she was the entire time. You turned around. Ooh, the ghouls, they capture. It's over. He never saw his wife again. He was trapped in eternity with Hades until the end of time. Welcome back to the Visitor Parking Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Vargas. We have been away for quite some time. Why did I tell you that story of Greek mythology? We're going to get to that, I promise. But I just wanted to say welcome back, everybody. It's been a minute. We've been on the road. I've done about 4 tours, 4 shows. I had Curtis on, I think, 3 different times. I had Corinne Simone on last episode. For those of you wondering, it's not easy finding podcast guests. It's not easy finding people to interview, especially when I've never interviewed anybody in my entire life. I thought doing a podcast, it would be doing it with my boys. Everybody would want to do it with me. That's not the case. Everybody laughs at you. They say, oh, yeah, Vargas, you're doing that podcast? You're doing fucking what? They're not saying the bad words, but a lot of people don't want to put themselves out there in the public eye, and that's fine. I get it. Not everybody's cup of tea, but, when you have kids, you already are kind of short on time and friends. And the witty banter, especially the guys that can keep up with you. Because I've had some people on here that cannot keep up with me. Curtis, you are not one of them. You can keep up with me. But when I have this type of voice and the other person is a little bit chiller, man, or they can't keep to the beat, it's hard for me. I think I think a little highly of myself in some cases, but I think I err to the side of comedy when I watch podcasts, and that's the people that I want on my show. But the problem is, I don't know a lot of people that are willing to come on. So with that being said, I'm calling you. If you would help me out, I need people that you think would be good on a podcast, talk some shit, match my energy, and we kind of go from there. But tonight's episode is all about self-medicating. I actually kind of changed it to Orpheus, but it's okay. Why I told you the story of Orpheus, because I truthfully was watching this show called Sandman on Netflix. It's based on a book by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman personifies Greek mythology. So he plays with the Greek gods, any type of god. He personifies themes of life, power, struggle, death, gods. So death is a god, time is a god, nature is a god, and they all have realms and rules, and he makes them real people, and how, time is married to Mother Nature, and Mother Nature's children are the god of dreams and death and love, chaos, destruction. And I'm just so fascinated by it. It's become one of my favorite shows. So I'm actually going to start reading the book. But anyway, that story about Orpheus was personified in that show. It was just one episode. But basically, Orpheus is the son of the dreaming. He's the son of dreams. And he had the most beautiful voice. If you guys listen to opera or whatever, you'll often see an Orpheus. And that's like a lament. It's like a song, and it's from this guy who had the best voice in all the land. He could even raise the dead. But that story resonated with me so much because if you listen to it, it's about love, and it's about faith, and it's about doubt. Orpheus refused to trust the gods. He refused to trust Persephone and Hades. And most of all, he refused to trust that his love was strong enough to withstand being without one another. And that if he had just not looked back until he got out of the tunnel, he probably would have had his love. Maybe not. Maybe he would have. But since he doubted, the sure thing is if you doubt your partner, if you doubt that your love is real, what was it ever worth? If you can't trust each other when you're apart, if you can't trust that you were in this for a reason, if you started this job or this career for a reason, if you can't trust yourself, you're going to go off the path and you're going to turn back. And when you turn back, it's just, it's broken promises left and right. I don't know. The theme is not supposed to be that literal, but you guys get where I'm going with this. Not only was marriage one of the most simplified, dumbed down things people talk about when you're young, it's one of the hardest things ever. To be that person for your partner day in, day out, it's challenging, man. To trust that your love is strong enough to withstand time and withstand all of these things that are on the off the beaten path, or trust that they're going to be there with you through hell. That's scary, especially when you don't even trust yourself. When you're walking alone, when you have so much doubt. Even getting on the podcast tonight was hard for me because I had so much doubt that nobody wants to listen to me talk. I deal with this all the time where it's like, I got into podcasting because I loved to discover who I was or what I was going through. And just like everything else, it started to become about something different. It started to become for views or for money or for fame. And those are all nice, but I need to love this as if no one's watching before any of that's even an option, And I think I had to get real with myself for a while. I was ready to give up my business. I was ready to move on from staffing. And the reality is I have 2 kids. One I have full time. I have a large mortgage. I've got great bills. And it turns out, looking at all my Amex statements, is I like to spend money. So I explored my options. I was Orpheus in a way. I looked off the beaten path. I turned around multiple different times. I stopped walking to the light, which is, success in business. And this all is tied into, I think, more of becoming an adult, even at 30, is realizing that you can leave staffing. You can leave your business behind. But how do you want to do that? Do you want to leave on top? Do you want to have an exit plan where you sell the company for $5 million in X amount of years? Do you want, to start from zero, go back to your basement, collect all the money that's out and just never walk away from there and just trust that everything will work out? So it made me seriously look at other options: podcasting, TikToking, movie directing, law school, all these other dreams that, you have growing up. And I'm like, shit, any of these other projects that I start, if I start it from the bottom, leaving my company and not selling the company and just going home and doing perm placements from my basement, for those of you who don't know, that would basically just be headhunting with no staff, no overhead, and just taking all the profit, working as hard as I want to get whatever I need for that month. What I want and what I have is, I don't want to have to sacrifice so much of my life that I'm basically starting from square one again. That's not who I am. It's not what I want to do. It's not fair to my wife. It's not fair to the kids. And to be honest, it made me reassess all the things I love about my current job, which is staffing in a lot of ways gives you full control over your income. It's much like TikTok, which has helped me see the more videos you post on TikTok, the more people you're going to reach. The more times your content is out there, the higher chances you have of getting views. You start adding quality with your volume, yet volume is your goal, right? Because more money equals more wealth. The only way to get more is to have more and to do more. More is more is more. Volume is volume is volume is volume is volume. The quality improves. That will only help you accumulate more volume, but at some point you have to have the output. And I could not work such few hours to where I wasn't getting enough money to feed my family. I couldn't work, part-time and think that my staff could survive without me being fully engaged for long periods of time. They could do it short time. They proved that. But that's another thing, though. I had to come to that realization that, I think this business, I can help people in staffing. I can pivot to what I want to do later from a position of power and not a position of desperation. So I came back to work this week, really enjoying. After I took a vacation, I went up to Pennsylvania, and I just really enjoyed what I did, and I wasn't angry. I wasn't angry that I was there. I wasn't angry at my employees. I wasn't angry at the clients. I wasn't angry that I had limited time to do podcasting or this or that. I'm finding ways to work it in and balance it. Like tonight, it was a little stressful doing this way too late. I've got to get up in the morning, but I had to cut out a couple things. I had to stop smoking weed, first off. And that's hard for me to say because I've been smoking weed since I was 14 years old. I've been hanging around people that are older than me that did it. I've been hanging around kids my age that did it. I've been doing it, for as long as I can remember. I did a lot of shit, probably that I was too young for. I was having sex too young. I was having sex with older women too young. I was smoking weed and, I was trying to be older than I was from a young age, and I never got off that boat. But man, as I was knocking myself and having a conversation with my mom about, she's like, "Oh my God, Alex, how much weed are you smoking?" And I'm like, well, not that much weed. It's the same amount of weed I've been smoking my whole life. So it's not really changed, but that's not true. Because this is the most stressful year with the economy, Donald Trump, changes. Like, my family life has been good for the most part. Business, however, has been hard. I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't like it. I've been doing staffing for 10 years. I found podcasting and TikToking, and I made $11 on TikTok. I realized that people can actually make money doing that. And it's given me outlets. I'm like, that's something I want to do with my life. But I've almost got to earn my freedom in a way. I've got to buy myself out of staffing at some point. And I think I had to make some sacrifices. I could not smoke weed, be ambitious, have goals, raise kids, and drink, and party, and like expect to be happy. Like I truly believe at my core that I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. I'm a fun guy. I like retirement is in my nature. I grew up, not needing for anything. I got a taste of that life. I'm good to not work if that's the option, right? But at the same time, I'm a competitive motherfucker, and I will run over you to win a contest, to earn money, to play football, in a fight. There's a side of me that lives for sport, for that blood sport in a way. And money is just another blood sport. Don't let anybody fool you. But I'm kind of becoming like a fighter now where all I knew was knocking people out. All I knew was earning $500,000 a year, climbing, doing this, that. But I never learned how to bob and weave. I never learned defense. I never learned tactical precision. And I feel like in the 30s, I'm starting to realize can't just be kill, kill, kill all the time. I can't be all gasoline and no water. Like I've got to have some fluidity in me. I can't let everything bother me. I can't let everybody get under my skin. I can't let every single problem irritate me. But with the self-medicating, it was tough. I went to a therapist, and I've been to therapy my whole life. Not my whole life, but, I think it was like after I had my first kid and, separation, I definitely took therapy seriously because I was like, damn, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I want to feel, what I look at other people, but I was getting pissed at remote workers. I was getting pissed at people that were just content to make $100K. I'm like, you fucking loser. I'm like, you're going to make $100K and you're playing video games. You're so happy all day. I'm like, fucking get in there. Get in the race with me. And after COVID, nobody gave a shit. People gave a shit. People had incomes. There was my mother's company. There's a lot of people who give a shit about making money there. And I'm sure it's all over the world. But there was a great reality of people who I watched. Let's build a pool. We're working remote. And I was jealous. I'm like, damn. Not jealous that I couldn't do that. Jealous that knowing that if I do that, I give up this. If I go remote, if I let my employees go remote, I give up growth. I give up speed. You can't, if you're walking your dog, you're not making a sales call. If you're doing at the grocery store and you're ignoring your meeting and making something up, I was jealous that they seemed so happy, but also they didn't want as much as I wanted out of my life. I've been on a private jet many times. I've been to Turks and Caicos. I've been in the club with Lamar Jackson talking to him. I've been in the airport. I've met Joe Biden. I've met Bernie Sanders. There's something that level of success buys you a ticket in without being famous. It lets you cross over this imaginary line, and I got a taste of that. Presidential suites, unlimited spending, almost. It's hard. Once you get that, once you start fucking that girl, it's hard to go back. Oh God. I mean, I'm sorry. I know my mom, please don't listen to some of these episodes, but once you get a taste of that, it's hard to go backwards. And I had to wrestle with, I want to be Bob Marley. I want to smoke weed, live on an island, and not have to worry about bills. And I want my kids around. I could be that guy. That guy is still out there. I will be smoking weed at some point. But right now, I'm like, shit, I got goals. I got a house to fucking put on my back and fucking row, motherfuckers. And I tried to have it all for so long that I would self-medicate. So going back to therapy, talked to this one therapist, and I think it was the first male therapist I'd ever talked to. I'd been seeing one lady for a while. It's a couple, marriage counselor here, marriage counselor there. But, and he's like, all right. He's like, wow. I told him how I felt, told them what's going on with me, told them how I've been the past couple of years and, where my life is heading. And this is how I think about stuff. And he's like, wow. He's like, all right, here's some, let's go on Zoloft. Let's get you on some antidepressants. That sounds pretty bad. And I'm like, whoa. I don't do meds. I don't do medication. Like, I feel fine. He's like, well, you just told me you're feeling, you're feeling low. You shouldn't, it's going on for a long time from what you're telling me, if you're being honest. But, he's like, if you could fix it, why not? If you had certain traumas in your life, I'm like, I had trauma, but like, not really. He's like, well, trauma is not based on if your mom or dad thinks it's trauma or if your friends think you had trauma. Trauma is based on how it affects your brain chemistry and how certain responses trigger you in fight or flight. And the synapses are already changed technically, and I'm like, oh, interesting. He's like, but from what you're telling me, you're already self-medicating. So you're smoking weed to shut off the noise in your head at the end of the day and avoid your problems. You're drinking when you're depressed and you want to feel up, and you're going out to a bar to fill your head with buzz, and so you don't have to worry about, again, your issues, or you don't have to face some of these things. You don't want to sit in silence, so you self-medicate already. So what's the difference? And I'm like, well, I never thought about that. Using sex as a release, using weed as a comfort, drink as a upper, going out and socializing as a time filler, being too hungover sometimes, to really focus on my family and really put what I need to in my business. And man, can I say, I've brought in $10 million to this company in 5 years, probably running on a quarter of what I could be doing. Running on talent alone, running on my talent alone and nothing else, because I fucking hated it. I fucking hated what I did. I hated having to employ people. I hated being the bad guy. I hated having to have these stupid fucking meetings. And I would convince all these people to come work for me, and I could get anybody to take a pay cut. They believed in me so much they'd come work for me. I like it, but I don't like it. So, I kind of get these people that also get curious and they don't like it, and they make bad decisions too. I'm not saying it's all on me in that respect, but I didn't like, I couldn't face my own life, and I was running on talent alone, truly. Like, I was just running on my personality, my charisma, like I'd always done, but I was struggling deep down to deal with all this shit. And yeah, so I decided, I was like, I can't keep doing this. I got to stop smoking the reefer for a while. I'm not Bob Marley. I have a lot riding on us and my family, and maybe one day when I've reached my goals, maybe occasionally I'll pop it back in. But for now, I gotta focus, and I got to find a way into this. I love you. I love this. I love listeners. I love my personality is strong enough that I know I can build a brand around just me, and I can go with that. So I know that that's what I want to do. I want to rely on myself and my personality, and that's gotten me pretty far. But now we're going to mix in a little bit of, we're going to cut it back to just drinking, cut it back to just drinking and not as much maybe on the weekends. And business is already doing better for it in terms of my personal growth in the business. And I found a plan to get cash back in my pocket without having to fight it as much. I don't know if I'll ever want to grow a company to $100 million, at least not staffing. But I've got other ideas that I'm really excited about that I will be pursuing, but I have to get the business into a good place. I've got to get my personal checking and finances back under cash flow, back under my feet. And yeah, but we're all good, baby. I mean, things have been good. And that's what I've seen is I watched this movie. I think you all should watch it. It's called Good Fortune. It's about the gig economy. What is the gig economy? I thought gig was gigabyte tech. I think maybe it has something to do with that, but really it's about TaskRabbit, Uber Eats, Lyft, DoorDashers, all these people that get paid on tips. And it's a tough life for them. And I mean, I struggle with it. I don't want to if I don't have the money to tip my Uber driver, but I'm going to order Uber Eats 50 times a week, I shouldn't be ordering it if I don't want to tip them, because these guys, they live off tips and people are so shitty with the tips. They give them like $1.50. So the movie is about Keanu Reeves as this angel, and there's a pecking order for the angels. There's, angels who redeem people and they have large wings, angels, who are just, Keanu Reeves' job is just to save people from texting and driving. And he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to redeem a soul. I want to save somebody. And they're like, well, that's not your job, Gabriel. Your job, just stay in your lane and maybe one day. So he switches their lives. He's got this guy that he follows around who's played by Aziz Ansari, and Seth Rogen plays this rich guy. Aziz is on his last leg. His name is Raj. He's low on his money. He's living out of his car. He's working 3 different jobs. He ends up getting a Uber Eats driver for this guy, Seth Rogen, who's a mega wealthy, tech billionaire. And anyway, they change lives. Basically, they do a life swap. Gabriel's like, oh, I'm going to try to step up my game. And he's like, I'm going to switch lives with you two, and I'm going to show you that money isn't everything. And so what happens when Aziz gets in that pool, starts having pool parties? Raj is living Seth Rogen's life, and Seth Rogen is now living the life of his assistant. He's become an Uber driver, working 3 jobs. So he's basically, the angel comes, he's like, what have you done, Gabriel? You're not supposed to be doing this. And he's like, I know, I really messed up. And they're like, well, what's the problem? Well, I switched their lives, and the problem is money seems to be fixing most of his problems. So Raj doesn't want to switch back. He doesn't, needless to say, he's like, I'm not going back. He's like, I'm rich. And the thing is, he's like, well, you have to want to go back, or I can't, it doesn't work like that. If nobody learned a lesson, I can't just switch you back. Great freaking movie. It was actually really heartwarming. Keanu Reeves gets demoted. He doesn't get to be an angel anymore. He ends up, basically, it's a struggle about how you survive from nothing. And at the end of the day, what we all have is each other. Whether you're rich or poor, middle class, you have your family or your friends or the people that would show up for you, no matter if you had a dime in your pocket or not. And that's what's important for me. And that's, I think, what the TikTok community builds for me. That's what the podcasting does. It gives me this sense of community that despite me having money or not having money, you guys are riding with me. You guys enjoy what I have to say. We can relate together. And even if I can give back and help somebody one day with my stories or my struggles, that's worth it to me. And I think I can do that in staffing too. I can help people for free. I got plenty of time. I can do more. And that's been juicing me up. But this is all like a week of not smoking reefer. So we'll get into that. I got another episode I can mix in, tell you guys all about the people that got me into weed, the people that I really look up to, who I grew up with, who smoked weed on a regular basis as 40, 50-year-old adults that showed me there's no problem with weed. It's fine. You can do this or that. You can live this life. You can be angry. You can do, X, Y, or Z. You can have low morals. And I learned from a young age, I think, that the reality of being a good person and having your life together, it wasn't as common as the movies made it seem. There was a lot of people who cheat on their spouses. There was a lot of people who smoked weed or did a lot of other drugs or drank or had, addiction problems or, had just issues being a stand-up dude or stand-up girl. I was with plenty of married women from an early age. I'm talking since I was like 15, 16 years old. I knew that people were cheating on their marriages. So there was a huge sense of corruption and this sense of negativity that I built around my life from an early age where I'm like, oh shit, everyone's telling you that marriage is sacred and life is, it's, you find a job you love. I come to work, everybody fucking seems to hate their jobs. Everybody complains about them nonstop. And, it looks like looks like they're here because they truly believe they can't do anything else. Turns out marriage isn't this holy matrimony thing. And people do actually fucking cheat on their spouses all the time. And they do it thinking that they are the victim. They do it because, it's because I have kids or because this or that. And I watched that from a young age, along with people smoking weed to cope and drinking alcohol. And it really impacted my sense of, well, they do it. Everybody seems to be doing it. So what is this bullshit going on that we're all good people and that life is supposed to just work out for you? So yeah, I mean, I got episodes on that I could do. But for the most part, I just want you guys to know that I'm happy, finding happiness. Nobody's perfect, but there are things in life that I want, and you just got to make sacrifices. And for everybody other than my mom and dad who listen to this podcast, I mean, they're like, "Yes, Alex, yes, you're getting it." I'm like, "Oh my God, you're so obnoxious." But you guys mean what my parents all have mean well. I think, my parents have always been there for me, and I've had nothing but a supportive, loving family and friends. And that's hard for me too, because it's like, at the end of the day, what does that do for you if you're not going to do the right thing, if you're not going to make the right decisions? Their support means little. It's all up to you at the end of the day to be a good person and be responsible and not be so pissed off about responsibilities, I think, is what I've been trying to cope with recently. So who knows? I do think it's important to love what you do. So I have had to make changes in my company and in my life. We stay small, we stay lean, we stay profitable. Even if that means going away from certain things that I would like to do, we've got to buckle down and do what makes us money. But I love you guys. It's getting late. God bless America and God bless our troops. Happy Veterans Day, everybody.